evening. You are tuned in to another a new Black Leadership Coalition program in the studio.com, radio.com. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you the phone number early, so call in. You can comment or you can complain. You might complain against the truth. 708-223-8953. My saying, stake your claim with Gregory Saying. And I'm here with a great guest tonight, Mr. Johnny Cole Muhammad. How you doing, Brother Johnny?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here at Intellectual Radio, brother. Look forward to a nice evening with you. And so I'm here to get right into it.
Yes, we're going to get into a subject. Is and definitely that is knowledgeable, that we really need to talk about domestic violence. But before we get to the, I would like to give my commentary tonight. I have a commentary, brief commentary, and up on Twitter, and I talked about this whole thing with Donald Trump blunders. But then I said to many of our people, here's a great opportunity of fighting, planning. Run, Jesse, run. No. No, but it's really an opportunity for us that as Black folks have to do soul search as we need to do to fix what's wrong in the community. Domestic a issue, blatantly rampant, and that's not really talked about. But I know about a quote, and I can't, it wasn't really a quote, it was some remarks that the minister made together our God-given talents and resources. So if we all of the gifts, talents, and skills that we have, and all have to adhere to plan our see us, or we'll be in a position of power. But if backwards, we're doing it backwards, and that's why even the opportunists, because we tend to be sidetracked into clean, resolving conflict. And that's why the new Black Leadership Coalition of many organizations, new, fresh individuals that have strategic plans is what's wrong. And folks, easily get in contact with the new Black Leadership. You are invited at some point a function to kind of unveil some of the things that we're doing. But anyway, with you can go right away, man, out the gate, such a subject, and I'm sure plenty of folks out there would like to stick violence.
Brother, that domestic violence examined by our community, and it really covers a broad range of antisocial behavior that really influence as well as 60% male homicides committed by take all of the women that were 60% of them were murdered, someone that they was in a relationship with, or someone that they were married to, or some close partner, as opposed to about 16% of men. So men are killed primarily by relationships with. On the other hand, primarily in intimate relationships. Now that's very significant because it suggests that there's a power and control element that leads to the killing of our women. And right now, most people don't recognize this, but the leading cause of death between 45 homicide is killing by us as men. Comes out of this attitude of male privilege and a corrupt value that we have inherited born in this country, and adopting a lifestyle and a value system. So you really have men functioning dysfunctional values and property as sex objects, as people who are here primarily to serve us, and we measure their value how well they serve us. And you spoke earlier about Donald Trump. He's basically the epitome of the whole white male patriarchal chauvinistic attitude that we have become marinated in as men. If you look at his basic attitude, women as sex objects, as primarily being entities that serve his needs, and he basically discounts their not only their intellectual basic IQ from, and other black leaders, a different value system, a different order, not just toward our women, but toward ourselves and our community. Some of the roots of it's also psychological. It's so intimidating, and economics. It covers the things and really try to narrow it to, it's physical violence. Internet. Anytime you can go to a supermarket and you can cursing at them, calling them all kind of names. You can assume that behavior. It is devastating and can be intergenerational damage.
Wow. And the emotional piece, the minute you said that, I thought about that, where kind of abuse is, but those stats are very disturbing
Mhm.
to hear. I mean, we hear about domestic violence, but not enough. And where do you pretty much word out or have these comments? That's why I said what I said. We are distracted from these type of issues that we could do something. Well, first of all, before we begin to do something about it, but to read it out there and let folks know that this is prevalent
Mhm.
and pervasive,
Mhm.
throughout society, and this whole mindset and culture of violence is quite, wicked, to say the least. And I'm sure there are plenty of women out there. And then the scary thing to me is the women that are to share it, to say anything, because they feel threatened,
Mhm.
to go and tell someone, you
But
know.
it's threatening, it's intimidating, but it's also very casual, brother. Um, just the name calling that we engage in, and just the subtle use of threats. We talk very casually about it. I'm gonna bust you in your eye. Now, that's something that you among people who have a relationship with each other. Calling each on a routine basis. The word today is almost even more common than the N word, and we've gotten so accustomed to it that it's not men who use it; it's women who's using that toward each other very comfortably, and to such an extent be prevalent among the church. They're saying it so casually now, and the threats that are spoken toward each other, particularly among the teenagers. When we were coming up, it was more common to see the guys out like, no, that's off the table. The guys shoot, but the girls fight much more than the men do.
I've heard the minister say, and I'm sure it was probably what, you know, I said, I'm sure what Elijah's mama said, you teach an individual. And when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. And so when we have and even ladies, and I refer to them, be referred to our queens, and denigrating each other, and nobody to say that the scary part of all of this is who courage something, to check them right there in action, the head, and folks look disgust, but no one goes and say, how would you all as bitches, bees, how could you? That's one part of it, but are you saying that mentality stems from or because when you talk about values and culture that go on in and then that individual come out and model they what they see, how
Um, you know, I really think that to a great extent, what has happened to women, and this is as human beings, about bitch to devalue women. And research about the origin of the word bitch, you really begin to find out that it's to a Greek goddess named Diana, or some scholars Artemis. That's the out of Greek mythology and being applied to as a woman who ran with a pack of dogs, right? But the term itself began to be used more frequently once women got the right to. That's when they took books, refer to it as, and start to reference it, mainly because males, because women were starting to women have tried to take ownership of this word. We try to take ownership of the word, adopt it and internalize it and embrace it. And there are women calling each other bitches, because that's what men used to call women. But now that they have embraced it, you really can't denigrate and attack them for it. So that was their way. Create the term. They even had a magazine called
hold on. A magazine called.
Yes.
I can't even use the term.
Yes. Yes.
Magazine.
Yes. And it was made by white feminists, Gloria Steinem and those kind of individuals back in the, and they was basically embracing the term. Yeah, I am a real bitch. And they sought to redefine the whole term, but it was dominated and controlled and be by men.
And it's a hurting word.
Yes, it is.
It's a hurting word because when we get upset, we use one of those words. I mean, it's a few other choice words too, but we say it in such a, even now.
That's right.
That's double.
Yes.
You mean
yes. If you want to get a rise out of a man, you call him that, right? And if you want to get a rise out of a woman, let a man call her a bitch.
And then you even heard it. You hear people saying, "Stop acting like a beast." I'm like, and you say we gave the word life, and then the connotation of is totally different. Use it, crazy,
right?
And because you embrace, but we use it in the vocabulary.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake about it. This is verbal abuse, integrating a household, along with a whole slew of terms that we use in the household.
Bad.
We are with the white value block. We've
and that's
become.
why. And and it on this subject, not just domestic violence. And it's really what fuels my fire, Johnny, is that we won't fix what's mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, in terms of addressing the sickness, because this is to feel a certain way about yourself, your neighbor, and then we with yes we can what? Not with this kind of stuff going on. Yes we can, and that's why I beat up so much energy into politics and who's going to win and who's better, and then we are totally not address the woman that's out there. Let me just tell you, absolutely, Enoch, brother Enoch was on last week, and he have this apologize. The young people, period, in our community have totally neglected. We've totally to guide them, protect the word is what I respect and the woman. We've been taught that. And I'm mistakes out of, argument really makes any real man feel bad, that you had to go there, say something that's denigrating, that belittling a woman. You feel bad, and there's really innocent. Grab yourself and realize how to fix that, apologize, because in the heat of the moment, but you cannot. And it happens, but that really is more women. Tell me what that stat is, Johnny, and I'm sure you know that in abusives that just remain taking it. This is where, and even younger men or young girls, they go and do something to that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, about it is for women leave an abusive relationship.
Wow.
Especially when they may depend on the man financially. They may not have the kind of support and resources that they may need in order. They may not know where services are that can help them. And the abuse in a relationship, so it takes place in our households every day, and sometimes it's mutual.
I've heard police officers say rather go to a house for service than they do domestic. They say they get there and the man beating up on the woman and did everything. Still on him after he just finished beating well on her.
Yeah.
So domestic phenomenal. It's behavior.
Yes, but brother, if you would to kind of pay stories that come through the media where a man has killed his girlfriend or his wife because he found out that she cheated on him, or usually those kind of stories are stories where are killing women. You'll find it the other way around, right? As he comes shoot her, and it's all because though he's losing something that he belongs to him, and she's trying to get away from him or trying to do something, then what something, and that's something usually winds up fatal.
That's because to move on and go on with their life and
exactly
have involved. And then the other part of it is where it gets really complicated, and which is not, I mean, a woman have a right to move on with her, but be wise and not just a domestic thing or this guy being angry, but the mature
dangerous period of time. If it separates and leaves him, that's the period of time, not when she's with him. It's when she leaves. Separation has already taken place. So he feels as though he's been disempowered. Now, what does he have to see? It's that whole attitude is of, if I can't have you, then in that period of time where he winds up killing her.
That's why I said it has to be a wise way of handling that. Not that you have to sugarcoat your next move, but you can't go on it. It's to you, but in his own sickness, you know, as it is, he don't want to see, as you said earlier, anyone else with it. And he doesn't want to see that. And then he definitely don't want to see someone around his children. Even though this other person might be very productive and really a good human being that is guiding.
Yeah, but I think that is that we have. We would be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves a question: when have we ever was the person that we was in a relationship? We don't, men have no of safety because our girl, found out we was cheating.
No, we
don't really another woman, and but women have a very and they do have to think about if they have a jealous man.
Right. So that whole jealousy, that if the woman about infidelity, etc., the woman finds out, explode you know, even though and we tend to explode this vice, and we catch her explode, and so it's hypocritical. It's hypocrisy.
Now they do explode. Take it to the point smart, that they want to take our lives.
But the nature's so smart that they don't fold their arm. You've been busted, and they just go and go to whatever you need to do because you made a mistake. You're a human being. Fix it. Can you stop it? Can you, because the trust, is gone. Sound like we're talking about when you deal with domestic violence, it's all about relationships.
Yes.
It's all about relationships that are healthy and not quite disturbing. I just find that to be worse. When you really a woman emotionally like that, when you damage them emotionally, that bothers me because I it's like when bullying is not just, it's such a cold aspect of bullying that's really pervasive. Glad you pointed out that it happens in a lot of days.
Exactly.
And which way do you think is more damaging?
Well, I mean, there is the whole area of psychological and emotional that we as men use, and that psychological aspect of it can be very subtle, but it can be very insidious. For example, if a man is the primary breadwinner in the relationship, and let's assume that for some reason his wife doesn't want to have sex, right? So he gets upset and he began to withhold things from her just because she wasn't in the mood last night. So I'm not gonna put no money on your bus card because I couldn't get some last night.
Wow.
See, that's coercion. That's subtly using in order to control somebody else's behavior.
Now I'm gonna make some of the women mad. You kid. But I think when
she wasn't in the mood,
right. That's vice move. We should that, but I do think that we about how we do what we say when we decide, because rejection is a real, a real thing. And rejection is very difficult for any of us to deal with, and so that can't be. Now if there's a you're not feeling well and etc. Now talk, because I happen to really clean it up, man. Yeah, but you change stupid and degrading things because she don't want to be involved with you intimately, wife, and that wrong with them. Not necessarily She's just not feeling it. And that typically don't happen.
Yeah.
Unless they are upset with you about some things interfering whole fit because you pissed, or they got other things going on in their life, and then you have to be a crazy sensitive that you know through trying to find what it is, and she so communication is so, then we'll know that now support
reflects fact that there may be something else deeper going on in the relationship. Right. Those are basically symptoms.
Can I get a woman to call? I mean, if you've been in that situation, you know there are plenty of women that are listening, and you don't have to give up, but call us human to say, you know what? And is I want to hear this part. What you still husband or your boyfriend or your significant other intimacy, even though you did not, to avoid that kind of stuff. 708-223-8953. 729-53.
To touch on that subject too, then there's a whole area of marital
rape.
Yeah, because something, or the belief that a woman cannot be raped if she is married.
Wow.
And the reason is that even though a woman can still be raped while she's married.
Work out when pressing charges, or is it very difficult physical abuse?
Well, I think we got exactly it is coercing or forcing the act of sex should always be or not. And a woman may have a husband, may not consent to having sex. At a certain point in time.
Okay.
And that's considered.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You got a comment?
A specific question? You
Say that
question.
Oh, one of them were and you were not in the mood, how they dealt with that. Have you ever had that situation? Just the opposite, you didn't feel, but you did it anyway.
No. I've never had that situation before. But the first one, to answer your question, I like it. I wouldn't do it, and I still don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And how do you feel when he, a two-way thing, our egos tend to be, as Johnny said, we, you know, that you if you don't, but
But that's never happened. Usually, men.
I figured.
That's it hasn't happened. Okay.
I know that
Situation whereby a woman thinks or a girl thinks that, okay, well, if I don't, then someone, unfortunate that the women have to feel that way. You know what? They have to feel that way.
right. Have you ever been involved in an abusive relationship? No.
No.
Good. Good. What about, do you know of anybody?
The most lot of that goes on, right? And again, and we talk about all that is it's quite interesting that the questions don't usually go the other way. Although you did, you had to go on. Sure, absolutely.
Thank you much for your call. And continue.
All right.
You know, interesting that she said she that have, and it was pretty much more so, you know, was which I had already, you know, the guy, we were fellas, and sometimes just turn them down just to turn them down, just to show that we got some strength. And that would be going against nature.
Yeah.
But she, you know, patient experience, mentality not stemmed, as you say, from us, and disrespect for women, and feeling that they were second class, and that's really no. I think, you know, that will, that if it were not women, I would know where I would be right now. I swear to God, as crazy and funny or I am, it really, if it were not, if I was going or coming, it was when there was no male that was there. Was a couple of brothers in my life, to heal Chuck Hill, who was we was sent from God, and this lady Orly Sanders that to many women, not only our moms and sisters and the wife that we had.
Well, you know, one brother Michael knows well, Sister Wanda White, who passed away. She was a mentor, basically taught me everything I know as a professional. But you know, one other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on too is one of the things that we don't talk about is how much male privilege, chauvinism is within religious organizations.
Ooh.
I mean, right now, you know, we sometimes from the Catholic Church, women can't be priests, right? There are no women priests in the Catholic Church. Other religious orders, it's the same thing. Women cannot preach, they cannot pastor. I think in the Black community, you may have seen more progressive attitudes of late. But if you just examine the landscape of religious institutions,
like not even effective of the scriptures, right? You know, because when you talk about religious institutions, so they have structure inside of them, right? And typically males are in charge. But when you, so let's go and look at the condition of the world right now. Look at, and that's why I think women, the first female, I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we wanted the first man as president, you know, so I don't blame. I'm just not very comfortable with the choice right now. That's all. And I mean, that's a personal thing, but the lady is very smart and etc. But just a lot of clean when it comes to policies that we know that she's been about. Mm-hmm. And so if running, you'll find many men, the reason they on board is because of the choice with this other